Hello everybody and welcome to a new video from Ruben Gorjian Photography. Today you are in my studio here in New York, and this video is about the 6 beginners mistakes about photography. Mistake number 1 is not exposing correctly. Mistake number 2, blowing out the highlights. Number 3, shooting JPEG versus RAW. Number 4, shooting auto versus manual. Number 5, composition, cropping and horizon lines. And finally, number 6 is blurred images and autofocus. We start with the exposing correctly. When you start, I understand it's very hard to know about the complexity about the camera, especially the ISO, shutter speed and aperture. But these 3 elements are the foundation of your photography knowledge for the future. So you need to understand how the ISO works, the aperture and the shutter speed. These 3 elements are the key for a successful and a properly exposed image. Understand the use of the in-camera meter and understand when is okay to overexpose a little bit and underexpose a little bit, so your images become really well exposed. Number 2, blowing out the highlights. It's very easy to blow out the highlights, and if you have a wedding photographer like myself, it's a key not to blow out the wedding dress of the bride. If you blow out the highlights of the wedding dress, that's it, you are done, because the brides pay so much money for those dresses that they want the dress to be featured perfectly in their pictures and in their album. So be careful when you are outdoors with the sun and the sun hits the wedding dress, and then you're gonna overexpose the dress. So you have to find a line between from where you can perfectly expose the skin and the dress as well. Number 3, shooting JPEG versus RAW. When I started, I was shooting also JPEG because I didn't know any better than that. So I was shooting JPEG. I've had actually few weddings in which I shot JPEG. But then when I started editing my images, I saw that I was losing so much dynamic range capability from the editing point of view, because when you blow out your highlights, you overexpose a little bit and you want to recover all those elements. Either Lightroom or Photoshop is really hard to recover those elements once you overexpose, or your white balance is off, or any of these elements or any of these mistakes that you commonly do when you start your photography career. So another element that it's easy at the beginning is because JPEG use less memory, both in your memory cards and your hard drives in your computer, that it's more convenient for you to shoot in JPEG. But let me tell you that I have here at least 12 external hard drive, and I've been shooting RAW for the past 4 or 5 years. And yes, I spend more money, I invest more money on hard drives and memory card than anything else, but I'd rather spend that money and be able to recover all the images and be able to edit the way I want it, rather have less worry about memory card than anything else. So guys, shoot RAW if you can, learn all the elements about RAW. And for guys, you want to shoot JPEG, I'm okay with it, but your exposure has to be 100% perfect. You cannot have overexposed sky or blown out the highlights of the dress or something like this. Then manual versus auto. Same concept about JPEG versus RAW. When you first start, you put it on P, auto, everything, and the camera makes all the calculation for you. You just press the button and go on. So I to be honest with you, I never shot auto in my life. When I started, I said I had to learn manual, and that's the way. That's again your foundation for creating amazing images for your future. Once you understand again how to shoot manual, you can create solution to your problems when they occur. If you shoot auto and you want to create a dramatic look, you will never be able to achieve those stunning images by shooting auto, because you cannot control any of the elements versus shooting in manual. Then we have a composition, cropping and horizon. I have learned that you had to make it as perfect as you can on camera. Don't think that, yeah, I'm gonna edit on Photoshop later, I'm gonna fix the horizon, I'm gonna fix the cropping. No, try to make it as perfect as you can on camera. Then if you need to tweak a little bit on post-production, you can do that. Maybe a little bit crooked, you can fix it a little bit, but try to have your perfect shot in camera. It's gonna take you maybe 5 seconds more, but the result is much better. You don't have to lose quality because you have to crop 20-30% of your image, and if you use a camera that doesn't have a lot of megapixels, you're gonna lose a lot of quality. So learn to shoot perfect in camera, and trust me, the result will pay off in the future. Another big mistake that beginners makes is to have the horizon line straight out of your head or in your neck, something like that. Try to have the horizon line either above the subject's head or around below the shoulder, around the arm, that way. Also try to have the horizon line straight on, and if you use a mirrorless camera, you have the horizon line in your viewfinder, and you can really spot it on perfectly before you shoot. The final mistake that beginners do is not to have the images in focus or blurred. Sometimes you use your shutter speed a little bit too low and you forget about changing back to the appropriate setting, and you have blurred images, and maybe you have a killer shot, maybe a bride crying in that moment, or the dad crying or something like that, and your image is either out of focus because you put your focus point in different position, or your shutter speed was too low and you were dragging and everything's blurred out. So always remember to when you change your settings, remember to change it back according to your lens and to the light and to the situation that you're in. So guys, these are the 6 to my opinion mistakes that beginners do when they start their photography career. I was a beginner too. I did so many mistakes, and every picture that you've seen in this video, they're all my pictures that I've taken and that I kept because I reviewed them after a few years, and I can see how far I improved and what mistake I used to do, and that's the way you learn. That's how you progress in your career, and you try to improve every single time you take your camera in your hand and you press the shutter speed. So guys, I hope this video helped you a little bit. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Instagram and Facebook groups. Hope to see you next time, and that's it. Thank you so much, guys.